All right, what up, fellas? Welcome back to Father's Plight. Today I got a short video where we're going to go over getting into a relationship and having a child that is out of wedlock and what are the rights that fathers have in this situation. They're going to go over the information that I go over with you guys all the time on this channel because I really want you to get to understand the process and what it is you're going to be in store for. These are two lawyers here in Florida. They're going to identify themselves. And let's see what we can learn, all right?
I'm Karen Turk. This is my co-host, attorney Joe Costello, and we're here today at the beautiful Riverside Hotel on Las Olas with Rhoda Sokoloff, who's here going to be talking to us about paternity. And when you're not married, what happens?
Well, this is really what happens when you have a child out of wedlock. Basically, a lot of fathers don't know, but they have zero rights to that child. And the mother can do whatever she wants. If the mother wants to relocate to another state, she can go. Even if the father is on the birth certificate, that's not enough. You need a court order that says he's the biological father to have any rights. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have to pay child support. You still have to pay child support, but a father would have.
All right, and right there, fellas, that is what I preach on this channel. That is what I preach. When you have a child and you're not married, you have no rights to that child. And that's why I give the example that she gave right there all the time. If the mother leaves with the child out of the state, there is nothing you can do. You could very well not see your son or daughter again, and there's nothing you can do. You have no legal rights.
Have to file a petition to establish paternity, time sharing, and child support with the court. And you need a court order that says he is a biological father. And after that, it's just like as though they were married. They have the equal rights to the child.
And we live in such a society now where there's so many people who are having kids who aren't married. You know, how much of this do you see in your practice?
We see it a lot. Rhoda and I have gone toe-to-toe more than a couple of times. And what a lot of people don't realize is as family law practitioners, about half of what we handle, or a good portion of what we handle, are paternity cases.
Wow.
It's children born out of wedlock, where the court needs to establish the same things that would be established in a divorce when it comes to children. Time sharing, child support, health insurance, those types of things. But the first step in that process is establishing paternity, getting a court order adjudicating that person to be the child or the children's natural and biological father. You'd think that would be the easy part, right? It's not.
It's not.
Yeah, what you'll see oftentimes is there's a holdup in that process, or some people will wait until the end to get that answer, which leaves the child or the children, the father, in limbo during the case. So while the father's being hit with obligations along the way, child support, a requirement to provide health insurance coverage, there's
daycare.
And daycare expense, that's something else that gets factored into child support, as Rhoda knows. What you'll find is this kind of lag period where there's some uncertainty while certain obligations are being imposed.
And what he's talking about right there when he says a lag period, anytime you turn in paperwork, it takes time for it to be processed. And when we're talking about the courts and public officials, who knows? And post-COVID, everything is slowed down. I mean, everything. I have 2 pending cases now that's over 2 years old, all because they happened around COVID that I still haven't resolved. And that's unrelated to child support. But the point is that he is saying there, or they are saying that normally in a divorce setting, in this example, they handle child support, they handle assets, all that with divorce, but it seems like they handle custody last. And that's the advice I was giving anybody who's getting divorced. Make sure you stay in the house. Because if they're going to do custody last, then the last thing you want to do is be outside of the house and be considered a single father and have that mother be considered a single mother where now she can collect benefits. Remember, they cannot collect benefits as long as you're in the house. The whole point of public assistance is to break up the family. The mother is encouraged to get benefits as long as the father is not in the house. When the father is in the house, the likelihood of them getting anything is very, very slim. Very.
And what's bad is sometimes it can really be stretched out, and the wheels of justice are very slow.
They're slow.
So it could take 2 years, to finish up a case, a paternity case. And in that instance, the father is not seeing his child.
What do you attribute that
Wow.
to, Rhoda? What do you
Wait,
attribute
so how often do you think that it happens that the father's not seeing his child? How many of these situations are contentious? Like, what's the percentage?
It's high.
It's high.
It's
It's
interesting.
high.
I find paternity cases, and I don't know if you've had the same experience, Rhoda, I find paternity cases even more combative than divorces because In a divorce, more often than not, there was some degree of love. There was a relationship. We had children together. During our
Property.
marriage, there was property that needs to be divvied up. The issues concerning the children are just one part of the puzzle. In a paternity case, more often than not, you have people that either didn't really have much in the way of a relationship, or it was somewhat of a short-term relationship. You don't have that emotional pull.
Correct.
And what
Yeah.
you're going to find is a lot more conflict. And Rhoda's right. Sometimes this can take up to 2 years.
That's crazy.
What do you attribute that to, though, as far as the time period?
I think that it could be the attorneys, or they might be pro se, which means that they don't have a lawyer. They're representing themselves. If
Right.
they're representing themselves, they don't really know their way around the courts to get hearings, or else there might be a hearing and one party might not show up.
So
and it gets
that
continued.
brings up a very interesting question. If you have somebody who's not married, you know, and they're going through the situation and they find out their girlfriend's pregnant, I mean, what should they do? Should they hire an attorney right away? Would that be the best course of action for them to make sure that they're protecting their rights?
You cannot hire, you don't need an attorney until the child is born. So once the child is born, absolutely, I believe that the father should file to establish paternity. But there's something else that's really important a lot of fathers don't know. There's something called the putative, P-U-T-A-T-I-V-E.
It's a fancy word.
No, I forgot.
Mouthful.
That's a whole lot.
The Putative Father Registry, and it's in Tallahassee.
Okay.
And every father should look it up online.
Okay.
And register, fill out an application. And the reason for that is, if a mother has a child,
I'm gonna look that up for you guys and make sure I put that in the comments, the link down there. I did hear about this father registry before seeing this video. I never did it before, but you know, the more documentation, the better. So I definitely suggest fathers fill that out.
of wedlock. And let's say she wants to give that child up for adoption. The father has no say unless he registers with the Putative Father Registry. in
So if he
Tallahassee.
registers, even before he's established in paternity as the father, he's registered to this site. So he
Yes.
has some rights or something going out of the gate?
Well, he has rights as far as the mother cannot give up the child for adoption.
All right, so what they're talking about right here is an example of if the mother was giving the child up for adoption. So that registry that she just spoke of does not give you any rights. Okay, it's just literally to for you to be notified that your son or daughter has been put up for adoption. Now, I do not know if you can stop them, you know, challenge it in any way. It seems to me like it's just something to notify you. And if you can take course of action, you do have a limited time to do so. But this is by no means any way giving you rights.
So let's say she tries to put the child up for adoption. The adoption agency would research and see, oh, there's a father, so they have to give him notification. And if he's not agreeable, the adoption's not going to take place.
She's
For most-
right.
Oh,
She's
wow.
right. She's right, Karen. What it does is it essentially provides somewhat of a notice requirement.
Exactly.
Okay.
Whereas without any parental rights, as a father, you don't get that privilege. You don't get that right, I guess is the better way of putting it. You don't get that notice. So by doing that, you're putting the mother and the state on notice that, hey, listen, I have some interest in this child. I believe I'm the father. But Rhoda's right. The first thing you should do, if there's any debate or chance that it's your child, as a father, you should go file paternity action. Stuff like this, I wouldn't recommend you do it pro se, although I recognize financial ability is an issue, and
Right.
we're going to get into that
And isn't
more.
there some sort of like a self-service center as well? If there was somebody, couldn't they go and kind of, you know, help themselves to some information as far as the courts are concerned, if they have to be pro se, if they can't afford to get a lawyer?
Here's the problem with that. You're kind of floundering at that point. Like
Right.
anything, you know, you ever read stereo instructions or installation instructions? If you're not an engineer or somebody that has experience in that realm, you're going to read it.
You need a professional.
have no idea.
Right.
But, you know, look, there are self-help forms. Anybody can go to the courthouse that they
I'm going to interject right there because obviously this is a lawyer's channel, and it seems to me like they're totally against self-representation. Here at Father's Plight, that's what we literally preach, is to pick yourself up, take care of yourself, because these lawyers aren't going to be cheap, and we know that, and they want to make a living. So of course they have an agenda when it comes to that. Now, what they just said right there is incorrect. I'm sorry. There is help at the courthouse. There is people there to answer your questions. There's free pro bono lawyers that come in twice a week for 3 to 4 hours and answer first come, first served questions. So there is resources. My company alone can fill out your initial packet and file it for you. Like, it's a document preparation service. We can do that. So that agenda right there really rubbed me the wrong way at the end of this video, because they gave a lot of good advice. They explained the law correctly, just how I've researched it and seen other lawyers explain it. But that last part right there isn't true. Here in Hillsborough County, they provide a lot of resources, classes, calls. I've emailed into the network, and I've gotten a reply back within 48 hours, and they gave me a very detailed explanation exactly what form I needed, where to go find it and fill it out. I mean, that's how I do this, by asking questions. That's how I know how to fill the packet out, what forms to put in the packet that's missing. Is this so? Do not believe that. Stay motivated. You can do this, and I'm here to help you. And with that, this video is over, and that reminds me that I still have not did my in-depth video to go over the packet, which I'm going to knock out very soon and put that right up for you guys, so you can go through the packet, see it, understand it, familiarize yourself with it, and don't be intimidated by it, because it's just data. It's just data you're inputting. Okay, I'm working on my site right now to get it up and running, where I have a simple questionnaire. I already have it developed, where I can fill out most of the packet off of the information you put in the questionnaire. And then the other two main points to that would be the time sharing and the financials, which you have to be in direct contact with, because that's information that has to be explained in there. But aside from that, don't be intimidated by this. When you file that paperwork, the process is laid out for you. You will see it. You will see the process. And like I said, you can get a lawyer after you file. You will save yourself thousands of dollars alone just in filing through Father's Plight or filing it yourself. So with that being said, I hope this video was, as always, educational. If you have any questions, please hit me up at fathersplight1@gmail.com. Look me up on Instagram. Like I said, the website is coming soon, and I also need to do a Facebook. So I'm going to get a Facebook going for you all as well. And please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, guys, please and always be blessed. Thank you.